This one's for the real gamers out there, not those fake gamers who... What the fuck is a fake gamer? Why do we gatekeep? It's 2024. Why gatekeep any fandom? Aren't you happy when people like the thing that you like? Come on, get the fuck over it. I'm talking mostly to dudes right now, and you know who you are. And if you don't, God, go to therapy. Anyway, this one's about Nintendo. I like video games, but I'm not too much of a Nintendo guy. I kind of like third-person RPG adventures where I can explore the world. But like, hey, Nintendo's done some great ones. And I'm joined by a couple big old Nerdtendos. Pat May, who's a hilarious comedian, and another hilarious comedian and fight choreographer, and good buddy of mine, Michael Serpe. They bring me into that world of Nintendos and Nintendo yeses. Link.
You may love a thing that I can't stand. Spiders, tofu, watching Homeland. Our interests are all varying. It's fun to be contrarian. But I'll try things that you all love to see if I can rise above. But maybe there's a chance that I just won't. So in that case, don't mind if I don't.
Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. I'm your host, Aaron Gold. This is the show where I don't like things and fans and experts come on and show me why I'm wrong and why there's something broken in my heart and brain and then make it better, hopefully, but probably not. First of all, I just want to say I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird. Last night I was recording for a friend's movie and I was doing war chants and I screamed a lot until my head hurt. So I'm going to be sounding like I'm a frog with a cold. But speaking of frogs, we're talking about Nintendo today. That beautiful. My guests are shaking their heads because.
Oh yeah, Yoshi's a frog, right?
Oh, totally. I think he's some sort of lizard. Yeah. Man, I have your volume way too high. All right, now we're good. So yeah, let me introduce these guys. Man, I'm tired. This is not going to be a great episode already. Let me introduce these two lifelong Nintendo fans. First up, improviser and host of Pat May Plays Video Games and Does Improv, Pat May.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bringing the thunder.
Yoshi the Frog, ribbit, ribbit.
Also joining us, we've got actor, fight choreographer, and improviser in my show, one of my BFFs.
Totally.
Michael Serpe is here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
This is great.
And Serpe is wearing a Triforce shirt.
Aw, yeah, baby.
Pat May is wearing a shirt with the video game character Ness, featuring his evolution. And I'm wearing a red shirt because I'm an adult. Now, moving on.
Wow.
Ouch.
Wow.
Coming out swinging, motherfuckers.
I was hoping you were going to say my shirt has children on it. Pat May wears a shirt with kids on it.
I was hoping you'd be like, oh, Serpe's shirt has a triangle on it.
Yeah. Triangle with like kind of a bird.
Yeah. The old bird triangle.
Yeah. We'll put an image. No, we won't.
No, you can Google it. You know what a Triforce is if you click the Nintendo episode. So everything that comes on this show gets rated on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being just ambivalence and 10 being blood-curdling hatred. Nintendo, everybody's childhood love, clocks in at a solid 4. I am so goddamn annoyed by Nintendo. It's maybe even a 5. I think a 5 is more just because...
Can you make it more?
Yeah, sure. Let's boot it up to 8. Okay. Why not?
8.
Fuck it.
Sure.
Fuck it. Let's burn it all down.
Yeah.
No, I'd say 5.
Yeah.
It's just 4 or 5 depending on the day. Man, I should edit part of this out, but I won't. Anyway, it's so kiddie and so immature, and I'm very picky about it.
Yeah,
Kitty,
man.
No.
100%. You just had
Remember
me
that time
play
that
a
Mario
game
pulled-
where Mario's throwing his hat at shit and the hat talks for no reason.
It's a ghost hat. Of course it's going to talk. 'Cause it's
From
a ghost.
Cat World.
Yeah. It's from Cat World.
Can I also say I don't think that's immature? Like Mario has
No, it's
never
just
pointed
lazy.
at me and made a fart noise. You know, like that's immature.
Yeah.
Actually, that would gain more respect for me.
That's
if it
immature.
leaned into it more.
To be fair,
That's
Wario
fair.
does the
Wario
gas
is the
humor.
more- oh,
Yeah.
Wario.
Wario, actually, I don't mind. I like Wario and Waluigi because they're kind of like the counterculture versions of the Nintendo characters.
Luigi's great. Luigi's
Luigi's
a scaredy
fine.
cat.
Yeah, I like Luigi. But
Wario also has his own game.
I know, and I don't care for those. But
Ooh,
well,
they're
then.
fun. I really like
I mean,
them.
Yeah.
if I'm at a party, sure. But I don't know.
they're
Nintendo
so
just
good.
always feels like a like, as far as video game companies go, it feels like a shitty step parent. Like he's trying to connect with me, but really I know he just wants to bone my mom, and by that I mean take my money. Like that's kind of the feeling I get from a Nintendo. But why do you guys like Nintendo?
I guess I'll start. I grew up with it. I also grew up with a Sega, and in my teen and college years, I had PlayStation capabilities. So
PlayStation capabilities.
Yeah, I had like a PS2, a one.
Hoity-toity way of saying you were rich.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I missed a few. I think I'm now. Yeah, I have a PlayStation 4 now, but so I've been playing a lot of those games, and I try them at the very least. And Nintendo has just always stayed true. I think they have the most bankable franchises. Like when you buy a system for a Nintendo, you're also getting all the really good franchises for the Nintendo. And I can't always really say that about PlayStation. I find that when I buy a PlayStation thing, I only have like 2 franchises I get to follow.
That's fair.
You know?
I will grant Nintendo having the in-house franchises, but I just don't care about any of those franchises.
Oh,
That's fair. But yeah, that's just me. I find that I grew up with it, and I'm not much of a nostalgia person. So I'll not say that the argument of nostalgia is addable to me. Addable.
Addable?
Like,
Applicable?
do not add to.
Oh. I don't think that word was right.
It's not a right word, and it doesn't exist. It's not the right word for the situation, nor is it a real word. But
it made sense.
It made sense to this. Yeah.
I mean, we can make up words. We can.
I plan on doing it way more.
Yeah, language is evolving, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Or devolving.
Yeah.
Serpster.
Yeah, I mean, same thing like Pat. I grew up playing Nintendo, among other systems, had a Genesis. The first console I ever bought with my own money was a PS2, Dreamcast, 360, but like Nintendo I always come back to. The games are just consistently fun. There's a quality and a polish. And the fact that for the past 3 years, I have been playing Mario Kart 8 with my now 6-year-old nieces. That every time they come over, it's Uncle Mike, did you bring video games? Or if they come over, like, can we play games? And they love that game. They're getting into other games now. And like the fact that I can connect with them, the same games that I played, by myself, or like even today, or like the games I played when I was a kid, like Nintendo just makes games that are easy for everyone to play and enjoy. And they do make some games that are like really tough and challenging for more mature tastes.
I hate Monsieur.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
Well, I'm he's just French.
Yeah, he's not a good guy.
No.
He has pictures of kids on his shirts, if you know what I mean.
I certainly respect Nintendo. Like my issues with it are purely personal in that like it just doesn't speak to me because I'm very picky about my video games. I like third person action adventure. I like where I have superpowers, and I like if I'm doing some action games, I like the actions to make sense. Like Injustice, you'd think I'd love Injustice because it's superheroes and stuff, but the kind of physics for it don't really make any sense, and that just clocks me out. So
Injustice is also a fighting game, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about it for an example.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So I'd say let's talk about the franchises first. Mario. I don't like Mario. I don't like that he what?
Do you not like platformers as a genre in itself?
That's correct. I don't give a fuck about platformers. I kind of just tune out. They all are very, very similar to me.
That's blasphemy, but that's you're allowed to say it. Only because we're in America.
Yeah.
But I will let you know that I'm not happy that you just said that.
Well, I know they're different, but not enough.
I sometimes feel like this is going to sound a little out there, but I'm not always crazy about the term platformer. Like, I know that's what Mario is at its very fundamental.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, I think sometimes when you say, oh, you're just trying to go from point A to point B, that's like your lead goal, which it is, but I think that's such a simplification of what's really going on. Like, I would say that what Mario is more about is secrets and you figuring out on your own way how to get to the secrets. Like,
okay, that's interesting.
World, Odyssey, 64, even like Galaxy.
Yeah.
They're all just about atmosphere. and playing with the atmosphere, and then you discover secrets in the atmosphere because you're just so happy to be there and you're so happy to just be walking around.
Okay,
if that
so
makes sense.
So the environment is part of the selling point in like the Mario, just the different takes on it. Even though like most Mario games, not talking about like Mario Kart or Mario Baseball or something where it's decidedly a different thing, but most Mario games are in theory the same thing. Bowser kidnaps a woman.
Yeah, plot-wise, it's
Yeah,
like
sure.
the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And I need a good plot to grab me if it's a
Ooh,
game.
I actually think plot is killing video games, if I had to be honest.
What?
Yeah.
I absolutely, like, honestly, like,
You're playing a story. That's what video games are.
honestly, when you're playing a story in a video game, it's like a really bad movie. In my opinion, typically you're watching a bad movie that is only moderately interesting because you're playing as the characters. Like, try watching some of these Tomb Raider like scenes by themselves. I feel like they don't quite make sense. And the only reason that some of this dialogue gets through as anything less than cheesy is because the characters look non-human or like non-realistic. you
Well,
know?
yeah, but I mean that's fine.
It's okay. If I want to watch a bad movie, I'll put on a bad movie.
But
That's
like,
how I ultimately feel about video games sometimes.
But here's the thing: if I and I'm in a very similar thought tank with you.
Thank you.
That's what words mean, right?
Yeah,
thought tank.
We're swimming in a tank. Yeah.
Fuck, I'm tired.
No,
It's
you're good.
addable. It's addable to the thought tank.
Addable to that thought tank. Yeah.
What is the show?
No, it's good. I'm having fun.
I'm having a great time.
Oh God, what was I even saying?
We're talking about storytelling in games.
I
I'm
got
talking about
absorbed
bad
into
scenes
bad words.
in movies. We're talking about
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if I want to watch a bad movie, part of me is going to check out and I'll play games on my phone. So, a video game that is a movie, that's perfect because it's still engaging me and it's giving me something to do while I'm taking this lovely story in. The Batman Arkham games are a prime example of that.
Yeah, I think they do a better job at also Serpe. I don't mean to.
No,
if you
go for
wanna-
it. No, you're riffing.
I would say that the Batman games do a better job of like doing cutscenes while you're playing so that they don't take you out of it so hard.
Awesome.
And you'll be doing something while the cutscene happens, either around you or whatever. But ultimately, I sometimes come to the school of thought where if I'm playing a game and I can suddenly take out my phone and do something else, it's a bad game.
Well,
Like-
yeah. I mean, if you're doing a game, yeah, I'm talking about like games. I wouldn't take my phone out and do something else. I just stop playing the game,
Well, exactly. That's kind of my thing. It's like,
and that's what Serpe just had me playing around on his Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I played how many games? 3 or
You
4?
tried 3, and you tried each one for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then got bored.
Yeah, well,
We did Super Mario Odyssey.
so good.
it's the
That game is kind of a new masterpiece. but-
yeah, love it.
Yeah, Serpe, you've got so many notes here.
I do.
That's true.
Thank you for coming
No
prepared.
problem. I try to. Yeah, I'm more in the camp of different. There's many different game genres. Some are more better prepared to have story than others. You know, if your game is like a adventure sort of type where you can find a story, that's where a story is applicable to it. More power to you. An RPG. Better geared for a story. More power to you. Trying to get a story out of a Mario game is kind of like drinking a glass of orange soda for your day's vitamin C. That's not what it's there for. It's not orange juice. It's, orange juice gets you vitamin C, not orange soda, but like.
And for the listener, while Serpe was making that point, his hand was on his heart like he was a classic Southern dame.
Yeah, absolutely. I was catching vapors and removing garters as we speak. But that's what Mario is designed. Sure, there's a story if you want it, but it's really designed to get you to the cool designs of levels that teach you how to play the game and pitch perfect controls consistently. Mario has the best control. And then secondary functions of Mario games, are cool art design and the awesome music that Mario consistently has. Those are like the pillars of what Mario games are about.
I would also say, banking off that, just like new ideas every corner.
Yeah.
See, now, are they new ideas or are they ideas? When was the last wholly new idea Nintendo had?
Well, I mean, capturing is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Capturing?
Yeah, that's when he throws the hat onto a thing and then he captures it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
you
still
were
a
a
Mario game. Like, then that's been around since, I'm
mean
in a
like a new-
ballpark here, 1700s.
Well,
like,
give
Splatoon
or
is
take.
new, but Splatoon's like a new IP. You're not going to get a lot of new IPs necessarily with Nintendo.
an IP stands for.
Intellectual property.
Gotcha.
So every time you have like a Samus Ryan or like a so-and-so,
A Samus Ryan?
yeah, that's Metroid.
Samus Aran.
Oh, is it Iran?
Yeah, I've seen it heard it pronounced both ways.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Or same as
Okay.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well,
Aaron.
I tried to high road you there, and
please.
turned out that bridge fell through.
I think I called him Mario for a long time
No.
because I grew up essentially with not that much of the internet, you know?
Right.
So I was just playing these things by myself, you know? It was kind of a lonely venture. But I would say there are new cool ideas around every single corner. Typically, it's not like brand spanking new. Like, it's not like, wow, this is wholly original. I've never seen this before. But it's like, okay, you can jump whenever you want in a Mario game. But now there are platforms that when you jump, they move. So you can't just jump willy-nilly or else the platform won't be there for you. Does that make sense?
That
It's
makes
a lot
sense.
of that stuff.
And that's a way of looking at it that I hadn't considered before.
Mhm.
I mean, when you put it that way, it's kind of like, I guess on the surface, I can compare it to comic books in that, like, I mean, Spider-Man, he's been around for 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's the
He's
same
lived
thing
like
over and
8
over again.
lifetimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But
He was
like,
Dr. Octopus for a year.
He was. God, that was so dumb.
So
But,
good.
Each writer that takes him on has a new story to tell, a new stuff to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of like a new version of Spider-Man. So I can view
Where-
the franchises
Where
like
I think
that.
you might get some of that, Jones, some of that itch scratched is sort of like the Mario spin-off games, even by other developers, like the new Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle from Ubisoft, or like Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo from Square, where other companies get to play with Nintendo's toy box, put their own spin on it using game mechanics and stuff that they do well, and using so sort of opening up that Nintendo classic iconography in new ways.
I will say, now you loaned me your Super Nintendo Classic.
Dude, I'm a great friend.
You are. You're a
really
great
great
friend.
On the day that I bought it, you played it before I got to play it.
That's true.
That's unreal.
And I will say, because you're a great friend, all the save files I started in slot number 2.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm number one.
Yeah.
Well, also,
Yes,
you would have
sir.
to click like up or down every time you like went into your game.
That's true,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I only was going to have it for like a week or two. So,
Right.
yeah. And of the games that you guys recommended I play, like Final Fantasy IV, which is actually Final Fantasy.
I've never played Final
6.
Fantasy.
3 in America was 6 in Japan.
Okay, yeah, that one. And I played Super Mario RPG,
Mm-hmm.
and of all the Mario games I've delved into, Mario RPG was the closest to something that I would enjoy. I
game's
found it.
Love that game.
Amazing.
Probably my favorite game of all time.
I think
Really?
it moved
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
too
it's-
slow for me,
that's
but
good.
it was.
It's an RPG. It's
Yeah.
going to have that slow burn.
RPGs are also way different than they were back in the day.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the inconvenient game genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you would have to I remember like playing Earthbound a lot. If you want to save or get health or not be poisoned or not be confused, you have to like walk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
playing Earthbound for the first time on that console, and it was like every single thing you wanted to do, you had to do it 2 or 3 times as much. Like, I approached this window. What do you want to do with the window? I want to look out the window. Confirm to look out the window. I look out the window. You see the yard.
Yeah.
Like, and that wore on me real thin.
It's kind of like the old school point and click adventure games.
Yeah.
Like your
Yeah.
Maniac Mansion, Day of the Tentacle, and stuff like that.
The genre back then was more of like an inconvenience genre. Like, you would have to walk very far if you wanted to get healed or like stop your confusion or to like not be poisoned anymore. Or even to like save, and like saving today is literally quick and easy.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
if you do have to, like, usually the game does it for you, but like RPGs back then, I think was built into how inconvenient it was. You
And
know?
I think that's why I can't get into classic games, because
Mm-hmm.
why would I deal with this when I can play the newer, more modern games that look better and have these problems worked out? So like classic nostalgia games don't do anything for me, and that's a lot of Nintendo stuff.
That's fair. I sometimes think that games are too convenient today. a little bit.
In my day, we'd walk up a hill to power our Nintendo machines.
Well, yeah, like a little bit. Like, you kind of had to like earn certain things more. Other things were taken away from you way easier. You had to replay stuff, and that wasn't necessarily a punishment. Or like, you would get, I think today when you get killed in a video game, it means that you like really, really screwed up or like fucked up or whatever. And the game gave you multiple chances to not get killed. Back in the day of my gaming, you got killed to learn something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's why people died at such younger ages.
Exactly. No, but you would learn how something worked by sometimes dying. And typically Mario didn't do it that much, although it has that moment.
Especially at the end of the game. So usually once you get to the harder levels, they really test the concepts and skills you've learned throughout the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes multiple skills at once.
Yeah, like those I hate. Like I hate the idea of platformers. Here's why I don't like platformers, because inevitably the final levels are always like, make sure you hit this at just the right angle 17,000 times in a row, otherwise you die and start all over.
Yeah,
that's aggravating to me. That's not fun.
But when you do it, don't you feel like a champion when you finally do it?
Okay, so that's maybe a fleeting moment.
Sure.
Versus the hours I spent screaming. That's not entertainment. That's an aneurysm.
That's fair. I think there's a lot of Mario games are good at not making you do that. Like, what I kind of love about Mario is restraint. Like, you kind of play an indie game or you'll play some other game where you realize how easy it is to just make a hard platformer. Like, ultimately, it's not that hard to make a really, really difficult game. But it's really hard to make a game that is both hard, also rewarding, also keeps you playing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, people even do that with Mario games. They hack and mod a Mario game like the Super Kaizo and the Super
Kaizo
Dram World,
stuff, yeah.
where they've hacked Mario games. And
What's Kaizo?
It's just like frame perfect Mario.
Yeah.
You like have to do everything perfectly, and you have to do stuff where like
that I hate.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's not built for, I would assume, any three of us in this room. No one who's willing to spend 8 hours on one level, you know? Like, but going back, I can't think of a good example right now, but typically it's not that hard to make a platformer where it's like all spikes, all ice. The ice is also covered in fire, but only in these like microseconds.
Yep.
And then you have to jump at just the right moment so you don't get hurt. Like, that's not that hard to do, but using that restraint and maybe using certain elements of that is where Mario succeeds, if that makes sense. Like,
I guess okay. So as far as platformers go, and we'll never win me over to anything but talking about platformers.
It's fine because Nintendo's got you covered in dozens of genres.
It
can I
does.
also make one last
Yeah.
argument for this?
Go ahead.
As I was saying before, I really don't think you can think of it, or thinking of it as a platformer is kind of not giving it enough credit.
I'll grant you that. I'll grant you that. Like, they find new ways to do new things with Mario. Like even playing Mario Odyssey, I liked that he had a ranged attack. Like that made things as far as Mario games go, that made it a lot more enjoyable. But I just don't like Mario the character. I feel like he's like an idiot savant without the fun parts of being an idiot.
No,
like
he
just doesn't. I can't. I never am rooting for Mario.
I mean, in part, I feel like that's because he's a mascot character. He has to represent not only his games,
Mickey
and
Mouse,
he has to represent the brand. Mickey Mouse has no personality, except that he's
fair.
enthusiastic about everyone and loves doing everything. He's always up for anything. Mario's the same way.
Yeah.
That's why with Mario's supporting cast, you can have Luigi, who's a coward but manages to pull through. You have Wario, who's greedy and loves to cause chaos.
Yeah.
They
Also,
actually have
Bowser's
personalities. All right, yeah,
Bowser's also really fun.
that's a fair point. Mario sucks, but he wasn't meant to be great. He's meant to be this blank slate.
Yeah.
All right.
If I
that's fair.
can say how to maybe view Mario as a genre,
Sure.
think of it like an adventure game made up with several mini games in it. Like when you're playing Odyssey, you throw your hat at something and you become a new thing.
Mhm.
And suddenly the level changes for you to be this new thing. So now you are playing a new idea in a bigger game, if that makes sense. So
like I like that in theory.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if I had played Mario Odyssey for more than 5
5 to 10
minutes.
You played it for like 10 minutes. You just got to the dinosaur and you were like, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to get better than the dinosaur for me.
Oh
It gets
God,
real
I
good.
could think that game gets amazing.
All right.
You have to. I think that
For those of
whole
you that don't
world-
know, you get to throw your hat at things and then you become
everyone
them.
knows.
All right.
Yep.
Well, then,
How
yeah,
cool.
you're listening to the Nintendo episode. You probably know.
Everyone's got to know.
Yeah.
Mario's
But
an
that's all
Italian
move on.
plumber who never.
Serpe, you mentioned other franchises.
Just like as you said, like if we can't sell you on platformers, I think more than just about any developer, Nintendo has sort of their bases covered in numerous genres. You want to play an RPG, you got your Earthbound, we mentioned, Mario RPG, which is made by Square, Golden Sun for Game Boy Advance was amazing. Pokemon, when you look past all like the cultural impact that it has, and everything else that goes on the Pokemon, the cartoon and the movies and stuff like that, it's a really solid RPG.
Well,
I kind of like the Pokemon cartoon.
as a
The Pokemon
kid,
is great and
If you
hilarious.
look up fights; they're great.
as a kid, I loved Pokemon, and as an adult, I like it nostalgia. Talking about those original 151,
Oh, yeah.
man. But as I got older, I also view Pokemon. I'm just like, this is kind of like dog fighting.
Yep.
It is dog fighting.
It is
meets
dark.
slavery. It's a fucked up world. The Pokemon world.
It's a dark world, but it's painted in the lightest light imaginable.
Yeah, you play as a child.
Yeah,
Who gets
you
to
play as a
when he turns
child.
13 or whatever the age is, like, oh, I get to go into the world, and this is my dream. I want to do this.
Yeah, I can't get my head around how fucked up all that is.
It's great.
I think it's because the inner
amazing.
child in me is dead.
Well, you definitely like play it, and you're like, "This is preposterous. This person isn't actually 10 years old, although we're all saying they are.
Yeah.
They're being left to literally wander the world. They attack adults,
Yeah.
And then like when you beat up their Pokemon, you get money for it. And then
Can
like
you just imagine that
Yeah.
actually playing out? Like you are picking a fight with Lieutenant Surge, this giant guy with PTSD, and he can bench press 30 of you, and like your Pokemon kicks his Pokemon's ass, and he's like, damn it. And then he gives you money out of his pocket, and then he faints.
And like, what is Team Rocket in that world if not a let's say it, terrorist organization
They
that this kid
definitely
gets
are.
mixed
Yeah.
up with and saves the world from on multiple occasions, I guess.
yeah, it's preposterous, but I think that's maybe as good as gaming gets sometimes. I think that's a really good RPG.
And what's cool about, I not the biggest Pokemon fan. I played the first ones and then I lost a game to my friend, and then I think a friend of mine accidentally deleted my file, and I have not
man.
touched a Pokemon game since.
Well, that's
We all know that
Yeah.
hurt.
that's cruel.
Yeah, it was like an accident. He just went to pick a different file and accidentally erased my other file, and
Yeah.
so I was like, done forever.
I remember a childhood friendship of mine almost ended because I loaned someone Pokemon Yellow, and then they went over my save file.
Yeah, that's stupid. I don't know why. You only
If you
get
look-
one.
But I always thought what was funny is like if you look at last summer, you look at those 6 weeks that belonged to Pokemon Go, that everyone was playing that for like 6 solid weeks. I was playing. I had friends who were like would open up Facebook groups and we would like get going in this game, and I was just like, that's real. I'm like, oh, that's like the power of that nostalgia, and like, oh, it's a really weird, cool concept that we're getting in real time. Yeah.
I have less hatred for Pokemon because I get it. I used to be such a big fan, but also it is kind of fun to assign yourself a Pokemon, and I guess now there's a lot more complication to the gameplay of it.
Well, there's
I haven't touched
8
it, yeah.
million Pokemon now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just about.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of Pokemon, and the rules are constantly changing. Like, although in this new generation, I don't think the types have changed at all, but usually every generation, a type gets a few more benefits or loses some benefits. A Pokemon gets buffed or gets nerfed. So it's like a constantly changing.
Nerfed?
Meaning they're weaker.
Oh, I've never heard that phrase before.
It's you'll see this more in games that constantly get patched, like your NBA games.
Yeah.
But characters are getting stronger or weaker depending on what people are like essentially complaining about on the internet. Like if they're too strong or if they're too weak. I would maybe say I love Pokemon Go. I still play Pokemon Go to this day. My thing about Pokemon ultimately is that I think if you're playing a game of Pokemon and it's a lot of dialogue, maybe too much, but if you're reading every single one, I think you become so much of a better person. Like I read a lot of Pokemon stuff, and I feel like it's really dug into my psyche a little bit. Like the idea of 2 Pokemon fighting makes each Pokemon and each trainer stronger, because they're like seeing why they go for this move, and like they're like just testing each other's merits. And for me, that's where debate kind of chimes in. Like people arguing with each other over ideas or theories and just testing each other's merits and like making each other stronger because we're like pointing and counterpointing. That's just something I've come into.
So you see it as a metaphor for adult debate.
Exactly. I see that.
That's pretty cool.
I also like have realized sometimes I get salty when playing video games, and sometimes Pokemon reading some of that dialogue, I'm like, yeah, I don't have to be salty. I'm learning something. You know? Like I'm being a brat. Like let me catch them. But that was a long chat, and I'm sorry. I just love Pokemon. I genuinely love Pokemon. I've played every single one. I think it's so good. That's it. I'm walking away. I'm putting my wallet on the table and I'm leaving.
What is wrong with me that I never liked any Legend of Zelda stuff?
Oh boy, many things.
I liked. Oh wait, there is one that I liked.
Only
I think for
one?
Game Boy Advance, that the one of the seasons changing or the time.
Yeah, Oracle of Ages, Art of the Seasons.
I think
yeah.
those are so underrated.
Yeah.
Those
are
I had a
amazing.
lot of fun with, but
Yeah, so
outside of those, no Legends of Zelda game. Yes, I played a bit of Ocarina. Yeah, I played a bit of Majora's Mask. Yes, I played. I played around with a friend's version of Breath of the Wild.
Oh, Breath of the Wild is
Breath of the
amazing.
Wild. So legit, within like a couple weeks of owning Breath of the Wild, I realized I've had 3 dreams about this game due to its like just immersive nature and how you're just thrown into this world. You have to like gather for stuff or like crafting items or crafting food and finding weapons. I was like, just that level of immersion. And also I was playing on my Wii U on my little screen that was, I guess, closer to my face than I'd be playing on TV. I guess I was just more like tuned into this game. And I was like, I've been dreaming about this game all the time. And it's crazy how like I've like logged the last time I counted like at least 93 hours. And I know because of my progress in the game, I'm not even halfway done with this game.
Jesus,
There's a lot of stuff to do in that honking
Yeah,
game.
it's a big game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like a big game is 80 hours, and if you're at 93 and not even halfway through, holy shit!
But then again, also the cool thing about Breath of the Wild, for instance, is that you can beat it in like 20 minutes if you're real good. You get through the tutorial stuff, like 20 minutes, like half an hour, depending on the speed run. You have to do some tutorial stuff in the beginning, and then you could make a beeline for the castle. Spoiler alert, there's a castle. And defeat Ganon, spoiler alert. And you could, if you're really good, like I've seen people beat it in like half an hour, like on YouTube. They're like, yeah, I can just get there and just know where to dodge every obstacle. And so it's in that way that game is so open-ended and so up to you and your individual experience playing it.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is amazing.
It is amazing. Oracle Seasons and Ages, I think, is so underrated.
I love those.
Yeah.
It's so underrated. Like, I don't know why when people talk about the best ones, they talk about like Ocarina. I think Ocarina is a little overrated personally, but oh my god, those GBA games are so fucking good.
You know where it just clicked with me?
What was that?
I don't like characters without personality. Your Marios, your Links, your Ashes in Pokemon. Like, I don't like characters that don't talk, and then the rest of the world's just like, I'm okay with this, and I completely understand you. It's harder for me to put myself in a character that it's easier for me to play as a character I completely disagree with, like any of the prototype games, which lost me partway through because after a while I'm just like, you're not a victim if you're murdering throngs of people. But that's more appealing to me than a blank slate.
Well, that's the silent protagonist that Nintendo loves.
Yeah.
I have the argument that the silent protagonist is way more interesting than the super chatty douchebag that we all have to now play in all of our video games. Like when you really think of like Samus and how she is just alone, typically she's a silent protagonist. She's not talking to anybody. It's a very lonely journey that she's going through. But I have played games where she does have a voice and it's cool and interesting, but like I kind of always like thinking about what's going through my character's head because they're not telling you what they're thinking. They're just kind of doing it and going for it. And I always love that like nameless mission. You know what I mean? Like Castlevania, I think, is really good at that, where like you're just kind of going, you're by yourself, you're kind of up to your own thoughts or whatever, and you're just trying your best, you know? I don't know. I think silent protagonist is way more interesting than anything like
Yeah,
that.
because you can sort of
You put your own face
put
on
your own
it.
face into that character.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
that
And then
feels
their actions
lazy
talk
for me.
more than their than dialogue they would have, right? like when you see Link like dealing with the fact that Zelda's somewhere and can't talk to her, he's like kind of silently dealing with it, you know?
Right, and because like Mario and like Zelda games came out before we had the technology to have talking characters and characters with a lot of personality. They were held back by their limitations of their respective machines.
All right, that's fair.
That's a tradition that sort of continues. It'd be weird to have. I mean, the first time we got Mario talking in Mario 64, or like some of the Mario teaches typing, whatever. But technically,
or Link in that cartoon.
In the car,
Please, princess.
No, excuse me, princess.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I couldn't even get through that montage video of him saying, excuse me, princess.
Yeah.
It's really the most obnoxious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that,
That's immature.
come on, you probably have if you're listening to this.
probably.
But
Yeah, it is immature, though. I don't think anyone's seen it. Very few people know that Nintendo had cartoons, like...
Nintendo had a cereal, which was real good.
Nintendo had
really?
everything.
Yeah.
I remember I
is
used to have
Disney.
Nintendo Power magazine as a kid.
those
Oh,
are
yeah.
cool.
And
Loved it.
but because it's all their games, they can't honestly review them. So when you got a really shitty game going through them, they're like,
It's
5
cool.
stars.
Yeah. They're like, this is okay. Anyway, let's talk about anything else. Yeah. My mom's in town.
That's the whole review.
Yeah. I mean, there are stinkers out there. Like,
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a company that is run by humans who make mistakes, and it's not a perfect company by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I always appreciate the risks that they take. There's a few games where I'm like, this is truly garbage, but
Yeah. I just feel like Nintendo, learned early on, especially like when the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis were up head to head with each other.
Yeah.
And Sega Genesis wanted to talk about their quote blast processing because they had a little bit of a faster processor, so their marketing team pounced on that.
so Sonic can run faster.
Sonic can run faster,
like,
yeah.
Like that's
So
pretty much it.
I always felt like they knew, well, we can't keep hyping up the technological advances of our systems, because then
Yeah.
it turns into a graphical dick measuring contest really quickly. So they're like, let's try different stuff. The Nintendo tries hard, and even if they fail hard, at least they tried, and they push games in a different direction. Like the Switch right now is doing crazy things because it's bridging the portable market with the console market
Hell yeah.
in a way that people didn't think was possible. Sony tried it with the Vita. That didn't happen because they didn't follow through. Nintendo dug their heels into this, and they're trying stuff, and that makes the other games try something too.
Well, I mean, I respect Nintendo. I as a company, I appreciate them and I like them, and I appreciate how much they've inspired and.
I think that's a 3 talking. Or
Yeah. All right. Okay. We're lowering it. It's back to 4. All right. But it just never clicked with me. Maybe that's the real issue. Like, when Pikmin came out, I was like, oh, that looks like something I'll never give a fuck about.
yeah, Pikmin's a very specific thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I've had that feeling about so many Nintendo things. Like, it wasn't. I think just when the Wii came out, I got into it. But
He's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
But then
Galaxy.
outside of that,
Yeah.
I recently played at a friend of ours, Matt Shafiq's house, and
Okay.
he had this. All of us playing the Switch in this cooking game,
Oh,
like a very
Overcooked.
Overcooked, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And it's just very simple. You have the directional pad, you have the interact button, and you put things down and pick them up.
Yeah.
And I got so bored with that so quickly. You can pick a bunch of different characters. There's a bunch of different humans you can be, or you can be a raccoon in a wheelchair. And I fucking chose the raccoon in the wheelchair. And after a while of being in this kitchen, I just decided to start playing like a raccoon in a wheelchair. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and was spraying it everywhere. I was not helping the process. And that's when I started having fun.
Was just when you did your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
wait.
Breath of the Wild for you,
When you ruin the game for everybody else.
I mean, I was
When you're
having
not
a
team
great
player.
time.
Yeah.
It's weird because then Aaron wasn't invited any more Matt's parties after that. I don't know why.
Why'd they put a raccoon in the wheelchair? If you don't want me to play as a raccoon in a wheelchair.
Well, I think a raccoon in a wheelchair would still want to do a good job at cooking.
The raccoon in the wheelchair is there to cook.
Yeah. They showed up.
He's got to try twice as hard as every non-raccoon.
Is he in a wheelchair because he's hurt? Like, was he playing a game and hurt himself and now is in a wheelchair? Or is that his life situation?
I don't know.
Because I think it would be the same either way.
I think it'd be shitty, though, if the raccoon can walk. He just likes the wheelchair and he just took it from someone.
They are fat.
Raccoons are bad creatures.
We
They
need
are
some
fatter ones.
We
Yeah.
need some overcooked lore. That's what we
Need
need.
some
We need I'm sure somebody has
Yeah.
been writing overcooked
Fan fiction.
fiction.
Yeah.
Send us your overcooked / fiction as well.
Oh God.
Yeah. how
I'm
did he end up
curious.
in the
Getting hot in that
wheelchair?
kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But maybe going.
Overcooked raw.
That's pretty good. Undercooked. Way
Ayo.
undercooked.
Yeah.
Raw. Yeah. But although that's not like a Nintendo original, I think what they do really well is very simple games that once you play them for a while, slowly show you how complicated the game can really be. And then as it goes on, you realize you could be amazing at this, you know?
I will say it feels like Nintendo games have, I guess, interesting learning curves. Like they do more with learning curves, and I respect that, but it's not how I want to unwind. Like if I'm playing if I've got time to play a video game, I don't want to do multiplayer. I want to just be by myself and go on a little adventure and then not go online because then I'll just get murdered by someone half my age.
There's
A lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like, it kind of depends on what you want from a game because I think Nintendo can offer just about anything.
Yeah.
Like, are you looking to get incredibly challenged, or are you looking to just have a fun adventure?
I'm looking for a partial challenge. I'm definitely looking for a fun adventure. I'm looking for a good story. I'm looking for. I love it when I'm in control of a couple of characters and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. Like that's a lot of fun for me. Like building strategy for myself.
Yeah.
So
I'd still say Pokemon.
yeah, I was
Pokemon.
about to say, should I get back into Pokemon?
I would say so.
If you can track down Golden Sun, I mean, it's an RPG. I don't know if that's your speed, but I loved Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance.
Golden Sun
wait.
is amazing.
That's the one with Marth and Ike.
No, that's
right?
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem.
You might like that too.
What's
yeah.
Golden Sun?
Golden Sun was like more of a
Yeah.
traditional Final Fantasy style RPG.
Oh, but it's turn-based though.
Turn-based, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like turn-based.
Okay.
You don't want turn based. Period.
I mean, I'll deal with it, but it's not my favorite.
Let's see. I really like Doom. I know that's not a original. Like Nintendo.
Don't like first-person shooters.
Oh, you said that. I don't
Yeah.
really like him either, but Doom is amazing.
Doom on
Like,
Switch is great.
Dude, Doom is. I played it for the PlayStation 4 and I was like, this is an awesome game. I don't really have time. But now that it's on the Switch and I can like take it on the go, I'm like, oh my God, I can play this all day.
Yeah.
It's
Is it
so
like
good.
classic Doom or is it?
It's pretty much classic Doom. The big thing is that you get glory kills. So something starts flashing and you run up and like put your hands into a demon and like rip it in half.
That's
or
pretty
you
cool.
like rip its arm off and smack it with its arm. It's a hard game.
And
Like,
it gives you life points, life drops when you do that.
Yeah.
Like it rewards you for like experimenting, trying stuff out. It's fast. You never have to reload. You're just running around and just murdering.
Oh, you never have to reload?
No,
That's fun.
It's great. You can just keep firing until you shoot bullets till you don't have bullets.
what about the Fire Emblem Warriors?
I hear that's fun. I loved Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors is pretty
what are
cool. Do you know? Why don't you talk? I've
Do
been
you know?
talking
Yeah.
forever.
Do you ever play a Dynasty Warriors game?
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. They for Wii U they made Hyrule Warriors, which is a Dynasty Warriors game with Legend of Zelda characters, where you play through a sort of convergence of multiple Zelda timelines and stop again, and at the end of time, and then you.
That sounds awesome.
And they made one for the Switch with Fire Emblem characters.
Well,
This is not mythology, not a game lore that I'm super familiar with. I did
I
play
have no idea what those games are.
I picked up one for the 3DS. I never really got super into it. I can't remember which one it was. It was the last one, the one
Yeah.
before that.
Those have really like struck gold within the last few years.
Yeah.
Can you briefly explain the lore?
Fire Emblem?
Yeah.
No. All right. Because every like game they pick up like a new generation of like heroes who like grew up admiring the heroes of old from the last game. So it's like a very generational sort of thing.
So if I wanted to play Hyrule Warriors, because that sounds
It's
up
fun.
my alley.
It's
That's on the what?
It's on the Wii U.
The Wii U. Okay.
Yeah.
And the 3DS.
Oh, they made one for 3DS too. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
And,
just mowing down fields of bad guys as Link or as Princess Zelda or as Sheik from Ocarina of Time and dozens of characters.
Yeah, the character selection's actually very solid.
And they all play differently, which is great.
I will say the most the most fun and most I've ever enjoyed any Nintendo game are the Super Smash Brothers series, because I do like.
I don't think gaming gets better than that.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean that's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have much to say.
Those
on that.
work in a
Like,
million different ways, and
Yeah.
I'll try to like keep it. But it's like
And I like the stories when they have stories in them. That's a good time.
yeah, I mean, Pokemon has like these games do have stories. The thing I kind of want to say about Mario and story is that there isn't really a story, but when you get these little moments with the characters, like they're so good. Like,
Can you give me an example of one?
I get so the ending of Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U. Have any of you guys played it?
I've played it,
No.
yeah.
I think that
you have
game's
to.
amazing. 1-player game, amazing 4-player game, an amazing game to finish 100% or whatever. But the end of that game where you get to like beat Bowser and go up to the clouds, I think is so beautiful. It makes me a little teary-eyed every time I look at it. I think the music is just so really beautiful. I think like how it like just he goes up an elevator from this very dark, scary city to these like beautiful heavenly clouds. And it's not white, it's like a darker tint of like white and peach a little bit color. And it's just so beautiful. And then the music comes in and the little fairies join Mario or whoever. And I just think it's like I just get very emotional looking at it. I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Can you send me the link to that?
I'll try. The other thing is you kind of have to play it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I was saying
not
earlier
gonna
with
do
these
that, though.
cutscenes. It's totally fair. But I want to I'll try to show it to you and maybe you'll see what it feels like. Yeah, it's kind of like going back to what I was saying about the cutscenes. Like you're either watching a really bad movie or you're like actually playing a game with like feel and tone to it that's like supporting each other. You know?
Well, I mean, like I love earning those movies, especially like when I've been killed so many times, and then like I finally get like I make this strike on the bad guy, and then a cutscene starts, and I know, oh, good, thank God, I finally didn't die at this.
Yeah.
Like that's very rewarding, but I have to like the gameplay for that to work.
Yeah, I just don't think cutscenes are fun. Like, I can play a movie, like Contra 3 or 4, or even like 1 is like playing a movie, you know? But you're not getting boring cutscenes. And it's like hard like a movie too, you know? Like you kind of like feel the protagonist's journey because it's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, like Die Hard when he's like barefoot the whole time walking through glass. You know,
Yeah.
you grow with that protagonist as he gets through his mission.
Serpe, what do you have notes on that we haven't touched upon yet?
Good call.
I mean, the thing that I love about one of the things I love most about Nintendo is that as passionate as the fan base is that you can feel the passion of a lot of the creative staff, you know, the people who have worked at Nintendo over the years. You know, you hear stories about the late president of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, who
That's maybe my favorite dead person of all time.
he was an incredible person.
Suck it, Gandhi.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sorry, people who did things for the world.
So when Iwata-san was president of HAL Laboratory, who made when Earthbound was in production, he was president of the company, and he would pull all-nighters fixing the code of the game to make sure the game got out on time, make sure it was fixed. As he was a programmer first, then made it to the president of the company. And people would be like, is this normal for a president of a company to be coding games? They're like, no, it's not. But that's how passionate he was about that game. He wanted to get done on time. And he's like, yeah, I'll roll up my sleeves. And, you know, you'll never see the Walton family stacking a shelf at Walmart. So they've probably never even
You
been
wouldn't
inside
even
one of the
see
stores.
them like give half of their fucking huge family wealth to anybody. Like they're so. I'm stopping. I almost went on a big thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I sometimes read a thing where it's like wealthiest people in the world, and it's all Walmart fucking
Yep.
people, and I'm like, Jesus.
But yeah,
Sorry,
so then
please talk.
he would just pull all-nighters making sure this game got out in time, and that the code, you know, he didn't have to code a game once he got nominated as the president of the company. He could have been done with that stuff forever, but there he was doing it. You hear about Masahiro Sakurai literally hospitalizing himself to make every new Smash Brothers game different and fun and unique, when it'd be the easiest thing in the world to pump out a new Smash Brothers. Like, yeah, they fight. And
Like the Assassin's Creed
Assassin's
series,
Creed
which
or your,
lost
like,
me
Medal
after
of Honor,
3.
like they shit those out every other year, and they shit out a different game to make sure that you're still playing their crummy games. Smash Brothers purposefully waits like 8 years before releasing a new one. And typically Pokemon does something like that. Right now you could play last year's Pokemon and this year's Pokemon. Typically they give you 2 or 3 years wait between the Pokemons. But yeah, it's just so good.
All right,
like-
so it seems like
Nintendo doesn't take the easy way when it'd be the
No,
easiest thing in the world to do that. You know, they could be doing what a lot of games are doing with these microtransactions and loot boxes as another revenue stream. Day one downloadable content, which is garbage, and I hate it. But they're like, no, we're going to give you if you pay $60 for our game, you're going to get $60 worth out of it. And if we do issue DLC that you can choose to buy, that's going to be worth the $20 after you've gotten the experience already.
It's also a little thing too, but you're not the test audience for Nintendo. You'll see a lot of stuff at like Xbox or PlayStation where the game will come out, it's clearly unfinished, but ultimately you bought a non-tested thing, kind of, and you're playing it, and then they're waiting for you to shit on it online so that they can patch it.
Yeah, looking at you, Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, like essentially, it's like maybe unfinished is a little dramatic for me to say, but it is a little like you buy a game, it's clearly not all there. They wait for you to complain about it, and then in a few months, the patches fix the game, and then 2 or 3 months later, you're playing the game that you're supposed to be playing. Nintendo does not do that shit, you know? No. Like,
they seem like they're a company with a lot more heart.
A lot more heart. Quality control up the wahoo. Yeah, totally.
All right.
Wahoo.
Okay.
Yahoo, indeed.
All right. So if we started with me at a 4, and then a 5, and then an 8, just because Pat made me.
Wait, we
then
don't
back down
want
to a
you
4.
to go up the numbers.
No,
right?
you definitely
Well, you did in the
don't.
beginning. You kind of like
You edged me on.
Yeah, I edged you on.
You're like Goku.
Sure.
You wanted to see him at his highest form.
Yeah.
I want you to be at 9,000. Yeah.
You guys have endeared Nintendo to me. It's still not for me, I don't believe.
Well, we haven't found the right game yet. Is that the problem?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors sounds like a
Hyrule
real
Warriors
good
is dope.
time.
Pokemon X and Y is one of the best games ever made.
I still love Star Fox 64. You could fire that up any day.
Star Fox
Super
64.
Metroid is a classic.
Super Metroid's amazing.
Metroid invented a genre, basically.
I did enjoy Star Fox 64 as
Hell
a kid.
yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
did.
a great game.
All right.
Just don't play the Star Fox Zero for the Wii U. Don't do that.
You might like Kirby.
I mean,
Kirby's
I
like a fighting game, kind of.
Yeah.
You know?
I've liked Kirby at times. I remember playing the N64 Kirby and
That's a
going
cool
like,
one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Dude, the music in that game is unreal.
Yeah.
Like going back to Earth or like the Zero 2 fight.
I don't remember these things.
Well, you have to 100% the game first, then get this cool boss fight where the music is so dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music in that game is so good. Have you played? Trying to think of like more action walking around. The thing I want to say about RPGs a little bit is that I think maybe the other problem with gaming is that everything has to be a leveling up system where you choose your own level up.
But I love that. See, I
don't
love
think it's that
customizing. I love customizing my fighter. Like the Mass Effect series is probably one of the greatest things I think video gaming has ever done. Like
That's
I
fair,
love
they're
that
fun.
you
That's
can
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did make
pick
those
how
for Wii
you
U.
wanna
They did
play
put those
that.
out for Wii U.
One of them is for Wii U. I don't
Yeah, I
think
think
all
3.
of them are.
They just put out Skyrim for Switch.
I have to play that at some point. I've never played
I'm
Skyrim.
afraid.
I
I've never
haven't
played
either.
Skyrim. I'm afraid of it eating up my life.
Yeah,
Honestly,
guys, none of us have played Skyrim.
I know.
You know,
Wow.
the year Skyrim came out, I was playing Dark Souls, and that might be the greatest game of all time.
I will.
Souls so great.
I do not want to play Dark
It's
Souls.
everything you want in a game.
It's horror. It's hard.
No,
it's
it's not
it's
horror.
very
frustrating.
hard. It is a little horror.
I guess.
Yeah,
a little
it's
scary.
everything I don't want in a game aside from being third person.
Yeah, it's true. But damn, it's like the best game ever made, honestly. Like Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, is so good.
Well, it seems like we have
I don't
we
know.
have the fact I didn't realize that it had like a Dynasty Warriors like
Oh, yeah.
game and I bet I'd really enjoy hanging out at like Nintendo headquarters.
Oh,
even
you got
though
a
I-
Nintendo World.
Yeah.
If I have
I've
an
never
hour and a
been to
half to
Nintendo
kill and I'm in Midtown, I went to Nintendo World the other day. I was between practices. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Nintendo World for like just walk around, check out everything they got going on.
Yeah.
Just
All right,
makes
maybe
me
I should go to
smile.
Nintendo
It just
World.
makes me smile when I go to Nintendo World.
Nintendo World's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm lacking in the nostalgia for Nintendo.
They also show off. They do have a little section for like the timeline of systems they've made.
No,
But
I'm not-
also showing all the new stuff. A lot of Switches.
I'm not debating that. I'm just trying to put a number on my feeling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the whole point of the show, isn't it?
I'd say I'm down to a 1.
Ooh,
One
baby.
meeting, you still don't really care.
It's more like
So if you're down to the negatives,
Yeah, the negatives are what we want.
The negatives
Yeah.
we want from you. You
But-
want to go beyond 0.
Yeah.
We can go deeper.
We can go deeper.
We wait until I play Hyrule Warriors, I guess.
That or
But then I'll have to
Hyrule.
get a whole new system.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. So that's why it's a
Wii U's
1.
are cheap now because Switch is out and no one bought Wii U's anyway.
I mean, I'm happy with my 360 and my PS3 and my
have a PS3?
roommate's PS4. Yeah.
Mm.
So we got a 1. That's really good, guys.
I feel like
You got a
that's
what?
got to be some sort of record.
No, but still real
Have you
good.
come to like something?
Yeah.
What have you come to like?
Beyonce.
Well, you didn't like Beyonce.
I didn't
before?
care about Beyonce.
Huh? She's cool. I like Beyonce.
But
Yeah,
Beyonce
I
loves-
like Beyonce now too.
but Beyonce
Typically,
likes Mario.
music is the best it's kind of ever been, in my opinion.
At times, I mean,
Yeah.
the Wombats are coming out with a new album, and their song.
Yeah, I forgot you're very white. I totally forgot about that. Wombats. I'm like, cool,
Serpe,
okay.
do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, sure. Where's my plug? Yeah. So, in addition to a show that you'll be hearing about in a second that Aaron and I appear in once a month, I also appear in Sequel the Musical at the Magnet Theater the first Friday of the month at 11 p.m., where we engage in one of my favorite hobbies besides deconstructing video games, in which we deconstruct a Broadway musical. We improvise the sequel to a Broadway musical as suggested by the audience, put on what the imagined sequel to that would be. It's fun. It's ridiculous. We have great musicians playing for us. They're a fun, amazing, talented bunch who let me sing and dance with them, and they haven't kicked me out yet.
What are a couple of the sequels that you've done?
We did last one. I think we did Annie a couple months ago. I was Annie. I was like, we're at scene 4 where Annie hasn't showed up yet. I got this. We've done classics like Into the Woods, Sweeney Todd, Newsies. It's just like fun stuff like that, and then our band will play in the style of that musical, and then we'll do some make-ups what that sequel would be like. Also, if you're in Rockland County in upstate New York, in January, I'll be choreographing a production of On Clover Road as I serve as fight choreographer. A new play by Stephen Dietz at the Elmwood Playhouse from January 12th to February 3rd.
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah,
good.
man.
A lot of fun. It's about getting someone out of a cult. It's
Ooh.
intense. It's a really good play that I had heard before. You could find information at elmwoodplayhouse.com for that. And for Sequel the Musical information, visit us at facebook.com/Sequel the Musical or magnettheater.com for info.
Boom.
Boom, baby. That's
Where can people find you online? Should
People
you
can
wish
find
to be
me.
found?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bad Case of Serpes. That's my. When your name rhymes with an STD, you got to make the most of it. That was also my old band's name.
And Serpe is spelled SERPE.
Yeah, and then S because it's Serpes, but no apostrophe because
Twitter.
Instagram, yeah, they don't allow for those. Yeah, that's where you can find me making yuck yucks.
Pat May, why don't you finish yawning and plug
I'm
whatever
sorry,
you
I
want to
did
plug?
yawn. My plug is that I'm currently doing a video game improv show where I play video games, and my boy Suleiman Beg does improv scenes with me. I tried to speedrun Super Mario Brothers 3. I tried to beat it in a half hour. I couldn't do it. Hopefully, we'll do it in a future show.
Pat, did you ever see anyone do a Mari Hour challenge?
What's that?
The Mari Hour challenge is where you speedrun original Super Mario Brothers, the Lost Levels, Mario Brothers 2, Mario 2 Toki Doki Panic version, Mario 3, Mario World, and Mario 64 in an hour. If you watch nerds speedrun those 6 games in an hour, it's breathtaking.
Is it the same person? Just
It's the same
doing all
person.
of them?
He'll finish a game, immediately switch out another cartridge or switch an AV cable in to have the other system already plugged in and on, and they'll just go to all through all 6 games.
Lost Levels is like the hardest game of all time.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds like the nerdiest thing I've ever
It is,
fucking
but when you
heard.
watch someone if you watch watch a speed run go when someone's firing on all cylinders, doing it in real time, it's they're just they're in the zone, full theta state, just going at it. It's a beautiful thing to behold.
That's very cool. But just to finish the plugs, I play a video game show. I do improv scenes while it's happening. Go to magnettheater.com for those times. And then my other one is Metal Boy, 8 p.m. Wednesday nights. And you
At the Magnet Theater
at the Magnet Theater. I can't believe I didn't say that.
as part of Megawatt.
As part of Megawatt. And if you're looking just for updates about that, or I do solo sketch comedy sometimes, check out Patrick May 914, which is my Instagram. And that's all I really got. I don't really have a Twitter, and my Facebook is only for Facebook people. So
I will say your solo sketch shows are
Yeah,
some of the greatest
Thank you
I've
very
ever
much.
seen.
I get tired just watching you. I'm like, how is anybody do?
And they're hilarious and weird and the best.
Well, thank you. Hopefully, I'll have one written in the next 6 to 7 months. It usually takes me that long.
Well, I mean,
to
it'll
get it
probably
up on its feet. You know.
take me that long to put this episode out, so that'll work. I would like to
that's it for
plug,
me.
as always, You Are Not Alone, an uplifting show about depression. Serpe's in it.
Boom.
My
Yeah.
boy. Yeah, every month at the Magnet Theater. Our next one is Monday, January 15th at 9 p.m. Serpe's shooting me a look. Yes, there is also one before then, but this episode won't be out by
never
then. Oh, okay. Also, if you would like to find me on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Hey, it's Aaron Gold. Also, if you'd like to reach out to this show, it's Don't Mind Podcast. You can also email us at don'tmindpodcast@gmail.com. If you have a Wii U that you don't want, send it my way. I'll play it and Hyrule Warriors with it.
Wii U is also a very underrated system.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
If only they marketed it smartly.
Or had a better name.
Yeah, the name is very
marketing,
confusing.
Yeah,
The name is very
very
confusing.
bad. Pat, Serpe, thank you guys so much for coming out here and tapping into my inner child and making me realize that a company with a little bit of heart ain't a bad thing.
Hell yeah.
Well, it
Yeah,
needs more companies with heart.
it's true.
It's true. There's only one right now, and it's Nintendo.
Basically, yeah.
Fuck you, Trader Joe's.
Also, we're at the Magnet Theater.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And, keep on minding.
Yay.